Welcome to week 3 of our Leadership in Health Policy and Issues course. Really enjoyed our class on Thursday. Wanted to commend all of you for your enthusiastic participation and good responses to the questions. You had done your homework as far as looking up the various disciplines and scope of practice and remuneration and all that kind of thing. And I think we had some really nice interchange about IPE and how we can work collaboratively with our colleagues in the health professions to better care of patients, but of course also to shape, develop, influence, evaluate policy. So it was great. I wanted to, we didn't get a chance, we ran right to the minute on class. Of course, we got a little bit of a late start having to move rooms, and I really like to stay on time and perhaps even get out just a few minutes early, so I'm sorry about that. But we really didn't get a chance. I wanted to kind of recap the good discussion that you'd had the first week on how APRNs are naturals when it comes to policy. So in case you didn't read all of those, just to kind of round out that discussion, I wanted to mention a couple of things. There were comments about how nurses are very suited because of our history, our practice focus, our education, and then also our involvement in professional organizations. In fact, a couple of you mentioned our history, and of course going back to our founding, the first really scientific and professional approach to nursing from Florence Nightingale, who was extremely involved in policy, shaping policy and questioning authority, looking at environmental issues, all of those kinds of things. So that's a good comment, I think. And then the fact that we are keen observers of behavior and subtle signs, and then also know how to really listen. And although legislators are, of course, in a position of communication and have gotten to that point because of their communication, may or may not really listen to some of their constituents who aren't as informed, or they might not even realize the areas of deficit in their knowledge. So nurses can fill in that gap for them, as we talked a little bit about in class as well. And then somebody talked about the fact that nurses throughout history have changed healthcare through activism. There are many wonderful examples, not only, of course, Florence, but Lillian Wald, Margaret Sanger, some of those kind of folks, and more up-to-date examples, contemporary. That we're naturals because we're advocates for our patients, and that responsibility extends beyond just the care we give, but also advocating in other ways for social reform, better environmental conditions, rights of wrongs to patients. That we're essential in every aspect of care because we're advocates, so another person saying that just a little differently. And that we're trusted. And, as we talked a little bit about in week 1, we're number 1 for so long that we're the most trusted profession. And then I think it was Amy, I believe, so her quote, "If people trust us, is it really a responsibility of ours to act when we see injustice or a misallocation of resources?" And yes, I think I would say the answer to that question is absolutely. It is our responsibility. And then finally, and I think it was Cindy said that politics and legislation is scary, grown up, ugly, mucky, and confusing. And that's something I would say I'm naturally inclined. However, it's something that it's entwined in the nature of our work as public servants. So great discussion. I wanted to be sure that you didn't miss that. So this week, as I mentioned, we'll move on to discussing how exploring resources for political information, bill and policy and legislation information, a little different process than that for looking for evidence-based information that you might be used to. So I wanted you to do a little of that work and then share that with your colleagues so that everybody will be as prepared as possible to do the assignments, the cost analysis, and also the policy paper. So I've gone ahead and set it up as near a blog as I can. The blog had worked really well in Blackboard for this assignment. So it's not a threaded discussion. So that means you can't respond to an individual post, but you can respond to the discussion. And as I mentioned in class, for me, participation is that you have an initial response. I'd like that by midweek. And then you would have at least 2 other responses to the discussion. And as I said, you won't be able to particularly respond to students. You can call that by name or you can mention the idea, but it won't necessarily flow right under the response that you're replying to. A little different style. And I want you to answer the question that's posted, kind of like, what are the resources, what have you found helpful? How is this different from searching the literature for a research or evidence-based topic? A little different style. And I've posted the site that's the easiest, I think. So there are 2 sets of resources in the week 3 folder: library resources, which are very helpful and excellent, and also the legislative resources. So federal ones and state ones, and I posted the state site. It's a much improved site over the past, so you can search by topic. You can see where the bill is, or if it's been signed, postponed in a committee, whatever. So that's very helpful, and also information about the legislation. So hopefully you'll find that to be kind of an intriguing assignment, and also one that will get you started on your assignments for the course. So as always, please ask questions if you have them, and look forward to our week 3 discussion. See you later. Have a good week.